Hi there, a very good morning and welcome to Smart Men's Business. And of course, it's yet another business week. Of course, how has been your weekend? Hope you really have the best of the best. Yes, today is the 23rd of October. It's a Monday. It's quite very rainy. You know, it's quite very amazing how yesterday we actually had some sort of a shiny weekend, but finally on a Monday morning, it's actually showering. But of course, it's quite a great moment. It's a great opportunity, most especially for those people that do businesses that really relate to the rain. Definitely, I saw quite a number of people that target, these target sorts of sellers down there, selling all those required aspects like umbrellas, and so many other related aspects. And that is quite very interesting, regardless of anything that happens. Actually, it's an opportunity to some people as much as to some it could be a little bit of a disruption. Well, quite lots of events have been happening, that is along the weekend, and I believe these events are quite very key and vital when it comes to, as an entrepreneur, how do you look at these events, and how can you actually use them to your very own advantage. But of course, on top of that, still to remind you that all these discussions on this show, today is a Monday, it's a new week, so that means the markets on the Zabo platform, effective today, are going to be in operation. Now the markets are going to be opening anytime from now. Of course, Zabo probably is the one that probably brings you these discussions on the show, and the markets open at exactly 8:15 a.m. and they run all the way to 3:15 p.m. That is East African time, and this is something effective from today up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when this market's gonna be accessed. But that's one the big deal here. At least you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make money, something which I believe it's quite key and important when it comes to your financial growth and development. Zabo made this a reality for you. And also remember, for you to proceed efficiently, to not to get any disturbances, you need to register with your national identification number and card number. That's why Zabo tells you that it's my money, it's my future. And also East Africa tells us that we need to do something new for ourselves. Well, as we proceed into our discussions for today, of course, we are doing a continuation on the series in relation, that is to supply chain bottlenecks, both globally, regionally, talking about on the continental level, but also above all onto the local level. But of course, talking about supply chains and disruptions and all those aspects, we understand that, of course, we are into a digital era, and Uganda is one of those nations that are growing despite the ICT sector being at a low pace, but it's growing gradually. And through this, quite a number of innovations have been put out in place, and among these innovations includes the aspect of boosting supply chains. And now today we are taking a look at how best, as we start this show in this first aspect, we want to take a look at supply chain disruptions when it comes to agriculture, but how can technology bridge the gap of the supply bottlenecks? Now, that is quite a very important key. Part of the innovations that these innovators have actually taken initiative to undertake is something to do with innovations in agriculture. So that is quite key. And now we want to understand how technology is playing a role in terms of boosting, that is the agriculture supply chain. Now, according to a brief report I got here with me, technology is actually playing an increasingly important role, that is in improving the agriculture supply chain, that is in the country Uganda. Of course, by connecting farmers to markets, providing real-time information and streamlining operations, technology is very key when it comes to helping to reduce the costs and increase efficiency, boost revenue for the farmers and other stakeholders that is into the agriculture sector. Now, of course, talking about this aspect, there has been something which is happening because some of the farmers are largely exploited in the supply chain due to the middlemen that come, and they actually want to purchase their goods at very low prices and sell them to other people at quite higher prices. So you find that the farmer gets about 40% or 30% of the profit, and now the other 70% is actually enjoyed by this middle income person. But of course, through the introduction of these innovations, it's quite clear and very important that with this, we can actually get to see that farmers can directly link themselves to the final buyers. Have actually gotten a chance to encounter people that have established online storage houses, online warehouses which store agricultural products, whereby I'm a farmer, I have my products here, I go to the platform, I look for a buyer straight to myself, or I look for somebody that can store my product, and then they take them to the buyer at quite a friendly price. And all this is due to the rise of innovations, and now the supply chain is being boosted, that both the farmer and many other players, stakeholders, are actually benefiting from this very one. Now, of course, like I've been saying, according to my report here, part of these initiatives includes the mobile applications. For example, Agri-Info, used to provide farmers, that is, with access to real-time information when it comes to weather forecast. Well, by the way, away from the aspect of just farmers being able to distribute to the final buyers, we also need to understand that one of the key aspects which is really hindering the supply chain, most especially in agriculture, is the changes in the weather patterns or ignorance of certain farmers on when to plant. And now, like you can really see, we live in ages where you can't actually determine what season it's going to be like. I think you can agree with me regarding that matter. You cannot agree when it's going to rain, but once you have these technologies, they can actually be in position, these mobile applications, they can actually be able to give you the real-time weather forecast updates as a farmer, and you will at least have a clue of how the day will be. And now that means you'll make a decision accordingly. It won't be something you assume in terms of what you think. You feel like probably if yesterday it shined, so today it has to rain. It may not be that way, and so many aspects due to the changes of the weather. Now, of course, away from just weather, they also help the farmers when it comes to real-time information in terms of the market prices of the commodities and products. Yes, because once you have this, you will know what to harvest, what quantity to harvest. Now, of course, these applications, like I've been saying, they provide information on weather forecasts. That is quite key and important. There is market prices, and also the agricultural practices. What are those favorable agricultural practices that once you actually do them, you're gonna have enormous supply, something very big, something very way out of here. And so all these applications are quite very key and relevant. So now we are seeing how technology is bridging the gap of the possible supply bottlenecks in agriculture, and these applications and that. Now, once the farmers are able to obtain this information, it can help them to make informed decisions that can actually improve their productivity and profitability. Now, of course, we cannot talk about technology and we neglect the aspect of the e-commerce. As e-commerce platforms, of course, there is TradeNet, Connect in there, which they do connect farmers directly to the buyers by bypassing the intermediaries. Exactly what I mentioned earlier, the intermediaries, or what we call the middlemen in a layman's term. They're so well fond of exploiting these farmers, so they don't really get enough like how they ought to get it. So that is something also quite key to look into. And now, of course, there is the aspect of the digital financial services in there, as these which connect farmers to they allow farmers to make payments electronically, which save time and money. Yeah, that is quite a key aspect in there. And of course, precision agriculture technologies and all that. These technologies are such as drone based, and of course they operate on GPS guided. They are GPS guided tractors that can help the farmers to actually reduce on waste. and so many of that. Now they lead to significant cost savings and increased yields at the same time, though this might be a little bit much more costly to own one as compared to actually when you decide to start with an application, which can actually help you in terms of telling, weather forecast, real market prices of the commodities, so that you know how much to harvest, and also the aspect of you being told on what are the best agricultural practices to get the best yields, and also the aspect of getting to understand how you can get rid of the intermediaries who are really largely exploitative people. Yeah, so that is something to do with the agriculture supply chain bottlenecks and how technology can actually help to bridge that gap. Well, that is it for our morning call for now. Let's switch and take a look at what's making headlines in the press. Yes, and of course, heading in here, have the Daily Monitor. I have it electronically today, but anyway, we shall do it still. I'm seeing something here to do with the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo abolish visa restrictions. Now, of course, we know that Uganda's main exports to the DRC are cement. There is palm oil, rice, sugar, refined petroleum, and of course baked goods, cosmetics, and iron materials. So that means this is a trade-oriented decision. Yes, it's a trade-oriented decision right there, and it's quite very key and important to see how best we can actually capitalize on it as a nation and maximize profitability. Now, according to reports here, Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo have agreed to actually abolish visa requirements for their citizens to boost cross-border trade and the East African community integration. Now, of course, the Uganda's Foreign Affairs Deputy Minister, according to Minister Akila Riem, says the decision comes after massive engagements between these two countries, and of course, according to the official data, Uganda earned about $241 million US. That is in trade surplus from the Democratic Republic of Congo in the year 2020, and it's an unestimated $177 million US in informal trade exports, which pushes the figure to about $418 million US in trade earnings. So these are quite favorable statistics, and yet by then this policy wasn't yet in place. So how much more when we have it in place? Should we expect these figures to double, triple? Well, that will depend on the responsible stakeholders and, of course, also the extent at which the Ugandans are willing to produce the products that the market in the Democratic Republic of Congo can actually consume. It's all determined of that. Now, of course, citizens of one country have kin across the border. Farmers from Western Uganda have farms in Eastern DRC, so you can actually see. Now, according to John Bitswande, this is a Ugandan cocoa farmer from Assesa district. He actually farms across the border. Now, that means the removal of the visa requirement presents a better chance of free movement for people like him. Of course, he's coming out to give his testimony regarding this very matter. Well, away from that, I see something in here. Of course, the Gaza war, aid to Gaza. I'm seeing Rwanda sends humanitarian aid to Gaza. Yes, so of course, Rwanda has sent him this aid, displaying solidarity, and that is with the Palestinian civilians who were hurt in the war between Israel and the militant group of Hamas. Well, maybe there is something people need to understand, these all aspects. I understand there is quite massive aspects of solidarity that is coming out on behalf of Israel, but of course, reports really confirm something very quite interesting. You get to realize, actually, they say about the bombings of Israel, bombing hospitals and all that. But the actual aspect here is Israel, before it does these attacks, okay, this is according to what I'm trying to find out, if you get some time to follow it up. They are what we call smoky bombs. Smoky bombs are bombs which are thrown in a place, but in most cases, they are just a warning sign to tell the people in that place that we are about to blast this area, so you better vacate. So they are meant to warn, and they are not harmful at all, actually. And the reason as why they are put out there is for the reason of controlling civilian casualties during a war. Now, definitely, of course, when they happen, once those smoky bombs are put out there, definitely we know that the Hamas, which are behind all this, in Hezbollah, of course, we will tell the civilians, stay there. But at the end of the day, because they may never really mind about the lives of people out there, you know. So investigations actually getting to prove that that way. Israel does it with intentions not to harm the people. But anyway, that is that. The world will always decide where they want to be at. But Rwanda sends humanitarian aid to Gaza, and now, of course, acting an act of solidarity towards the Palestinians, whom they say that are being oppressed for that. Well, it's exactly 24 minutes past 7, and that is it from our morning call on the press brief. But of course, still to remind you, don't forget the markets on the Zab platform are going to be on anytime from now. You can participate. Get ready to participate by simply dialing *292#, which is the code that will lead you there. And once you have this, you can be able to buy bond securities for just 15,000 you get in shillings. Yes, so the markets will be opening at 8:15 a.m. run up to 3:15 p.m. That is East African time. That is effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when those markets are out of reach. But that's not the big deal here. At least you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make money, something which I believe is quite key and important when it comes to your financial growth and development as an individual. Zab made this a reality for you, and that's why it says it's my money, it's my future. And Altex East Africa tells us that we need to do something new for ourselves. It is the year 2023. Well, for now, we'll take a short break, and when we return, Caribbean, East Africa, and international updates. Stick around.
Smart 24